Those of you who regularly watch this channel know I go hard for a flat sketch. But I recognize that although the flat does an excellent job of telling the story of the construction and design details, it's not always the best at easily conveying silhouette, fabric, drape, and fit intent. Easily conveying it. If a flat sketch is what you got or what's needed, you make it work. I mean, we've been using them for years. But if you can more easily and comprehensively convey your design vision to those helping you execute it, why wouldn't you? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Mikkel Drew Pelham. I talk about digital fashion design tools, how to communicate your ideas clearly, and how to turn creativity into a sustainable fashion business. If you're tired of guessing what fashion software to use, what skills to learn, and what actually matters as you build your brand, this channel is for you. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you can keep learning with me. So yes, I have been using and continue to use Illustrator for years to create flat sketches that clearly communicate my design ideas so that a pattern maker, a sewer, or whomever is tasked to help me execute the physical replica of my design can easily help me do that. But if you're designing something that's a bit more complex than a hoodie or a simple t-shirt dress, often a flat sketch, while it clearly communicates all of the details, doesn't always feel like it shows the full story. And this is where 3D can be tremendously helpful in not only helping the factory understand the full story of your design, but it can also help you make some critical decisions early on in the design process. So let's talk about 5 things that you can do in 3D that you can't do or can't do as well in Illustrator. As I mentioned previously, a flat sketch is still the most comprehensive representation of your design, particularly for a manufacturer. But when you design, you're creating for a 3-dimensional form, whether that's a body or body parts. And depending on what you design, it is so much easier to see the garment on the body. A flat sketch will help you imagine what the fit and drape of the garment and fabric will look like. And honestly, so will an illustration. But 3D gives you the closest thing to a physical sample of your design. And before anyone asks, yes, it's even closer than AI. And that's not to say AI won't eventually get there, but unless your AI is using fabric physics, maps, and actual patterns and measurements, it's just a picture and it cannot be trusted for fit. We often use a croquis to sketch our designs, but even a well-proportioned croquis can't give you the accuracy of a 3D avatar that is customized to your or your client's or brand's measurements. That's a different level of accuracy that, if I'm being honest, no flat sketch can truly compete with. 3D programs use what are called maps and test fabric physics, things like how the fabric bends, how much it stretches, the thickness of the fabric, along with more basic parameters like the fabric weight and fiber content. All that data combined with fabric maps that translate the surface aesthetics results in a very realistic rendering and fabric drape when it's on the garment. That's obviously not something you can do in Illustrator. The closest you can get in Illustrator is a scan of the fabric, and you can do maybe some mesh warping or applying shadows to give the illusion of the fabric drape, both of which I show you how to do in this video. But again, it's the illusion of the drape, whereas 3D reflects how the fabric will actually drape on your design. Now, don't get me wrong, there is some basic animation you can do with Illustrator sketches. I've done it, and in fact, I've shown a method to do this in this video. However, it involved me exporting my files to other programs to complete the animation. In CLO, you can create runway shows or something as simple as a 360-degree turntable video, which is something many designers incorporate into their presentations and something I show you how to create in my CLO beginner course. I will say that I've recently seen some AI doing this and it's pretty cool. The issue I've seen right away is that they tend to look a bit squished. Like, it should be rounder. The 360 is supposed to look like there's a ghost mannequin inside it, so it should seem like there's a real body wearing the garment. but that's not what these look like. Now, this is something newer I've been seeing, so it's very possible that this will be fixed by the time you're viewing this video. But regardless, keep in mind that the AI version is a picture. The 3D version is backed by real measurement data. So that turntable video you create in CLO and send to your client will be an accurate depiction of what you plan to create for them and something they can trust. Of all of these 5 options, this is probably the thing that solved one of my biggest pain points. Yes, you can add a pattern or a graphic to a flat sketch in Illustrator. The problem is that the size used on that flat was always just an approximation. I remember times when we purposely made prints a little bigger so you could see it better in the flat, which meant that it didn't reflect the actual size of the final print. And even once we got sign off on our color cards from the buyer, we would literally print out the all over pattern actual size, tape the pages together, and then trace the garment pattern onto the taped sheets, cut that out, and then show it to our managers only for them to say, can I see it a little bigger, maybe 10 to 20%? Yes, that was my life as a designer before we started using methods like 3D fashion software. Taping together paper and cutting it out. We were doing arts and crafts on a Tuesday. And listen, as annoying as this was, I completely understood why we were doing it. It's very hard to really know what an all-over print will look like on a full-size garment when you're just looking at it on a flat sketch that's this big. You have to see it full size. So when I finally was able to do this in CLO and I could confidently show a 3D garment and say, this is what it will really look like, or with a place graphic, get the sign off on the placement and know exactly what the size of the graphic was and the placement from the high point shoulder and from center front. Oh my gosh, I was able to get my life back and not spend hours cutting and taping paper. This is in no way devaluing a flat sketch or saying we should abandon flat sketches for 3D. I will still stand 10 toes down and say that you need a flat sketch, particularly for a tech pack. In fact, it has always been my belief that a flat sketch and 3D together paints the most comprehensive picture for your manufacturer. So they have the most complete picture of your design vision. The flat sketch easily conveys construction, design details, and serves as a final overall check for the factory, while the 3D rendering clearly conveys the fit intent, shape, silhouette, garment length, and overall appearance on the body. One more thing I want to add. We often use new technology as a replacement for outdated methods we've been using, which makes sense. That's pretty much the job of technology, to improve upon and find better ways of performing existing functions. But sometimes technology's job can also be to fill a gap, not necessarily replace. Flat sketching remains a standard for garment manufacturing for a reason. And it is still one of the clearest ways to communicate your design to a factory. But I believe that 3D complements that flat sketch by filling a gap and allowing your manufacturer, and the designer actually, to see a complete picture of your design vision in both 2D and 3D. Thanks for watching this week's video. If you want to start seeing your 2D designs in 3D, make sure you check out my beginner CLO course, which is relaunching this month with new and updated content. Just click the link in the description to see the course outline and sign up for a free trial. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with another designer if you found it helpful. Have a fantastic week, and I'll see you next time.